Are you Mandalorian?
I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy, like my father before me.
3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. Matthew, Dylan, Callan.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Good evening, Star Wars fans, and welcome to episode 34 of the 3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. I'm joined by my 3 co-pilots tonight, completing this awesome foursome, a Mr. Callan Gardner, Mr. Dylan Chikalis, and a Mr. Matthew Turbo. Callan, how are you, mate?
I am good, Matty. I'm very good. It's been a pretty good week, and I've been getting cracking into the YouTube and getting all that stuff moving for us over at YouTube TMABYPodcast. So hit us up there. But yeah, this has been an epic. Pretty stoked that season 3's out for Mandalorian. I'm really pumped, and it's going to be a good ep tonight.
Yeah, well, we had a little chat during the week, and you asked me to ask our good buddy Josh Chapman how he gets these episodes onto YouTube, and once you found out that there was a very simple, easy way, we basically $500 later, and we've switched servers from Anchor to Podbean. But it's shitloads better. And yeah, like I've been.
There's just so many options out there, and so that was it was good to nail that on the head, and now we'll just start uploading, and we've got the latest one. I think last episode 33 is up, and I'm going to start backlogging a few of them. So get over there.
Well, no. Once I logged in, Callan had already switched over. He'd already put in a transfer request from Podbean from Anchor, and so when I logged in, it was already halfway done, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks for letting me know you've sort of."
Maybe I did that like 2 months ago. Probably did that 2 months ago. I think you did do it in December,
so I had to clear that up. Dylan, buddy, how are you, mate?
Very good. Wow, what a week it's been. It's a lot's happened. I had my 3-year anniversary with my missus on the 28th, so that was good. Went to a nice Italian restaurant. Yeah. Anyway, but the best part is, right, so I'm running late.
This is a Star Wars fan with a girlfriend.
Thanks, Turbo. So get this. I've gone to the gym before we go out because I had to get my gym session in. Come home, I get ready. I bought her some flowers. I'm on my way to hers with probably like half an hour to spare because I'll get there and then we'll have to leave. I'm pulling into her driveway, and I look to the seat to think, oh yeah, my flowers are there. I'll get them out. Fuck, I left them at home, boys. So without it, I literally, as I was passing her driveway, off I go again. So I've had to speed back home, get him. Anyway, good night. But yeah.
There's a difference. I would have said, fuck it, my mum's got or someone else has got some flowers in my family. Is that
But yeah, other than that, nothing much on my front.
Mr. Turbo, this is a rare treat to have all 4 boys assembled. This is Avengers level assembled. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. I think it's the only second time I've been on with Callan, so yeah, it's good to have all 4 on board. I didn't have an anniversary or Italian restaurant, but we did have pizza tonight.
Yeah.
And Sunday night pizza night, a bit lazy. But next week I've got the kids going back to school, so I'll get a bit more work done during the day. So that's something. Looking forward to talking about Mando / Boba Fett / whatever we want to talk about.
Well, it's good to have you on because, I think you're the only man who's able to call me out when I've made a rare Star Wars error. So it's good to have you on board tonight. I mean, I was talking to Frosty because Frosty, we had Frosty last week, and he's always so much fun to chat with, and I feel like it would have been so much more awesome if we got him this week because the whole Mando Boba Fett gushing, the people, the chat between me and him this week has just been off the charts.
Like, so you're saying I'm the second choice Matt?
No. I'm just saying. It would have been great to have him on tonight as well. We could have got rid of Dylan. It's all right. But the chat between the DMs between me and him has been mental this week because he's everyone's like, Bryce Dallas Howard, give her all the Star Wars films. Everyone, like, the gushing has just been, it's back to Mando levels, which he just detests. And no, it's been good. But mate, any purchases since we last spoke to you?
Oh, you're asking me. I did receive something. It was, and it's kind of related. I received this 3 3/4 Mandalorian armorer. Carbonized version. So that
good
when you say you
timing.
received it, did Disney send that to you, or did you buy that for money?
No. I think
Favreau sent it over.
I actually don't remember when I bought it. I think it was like something half price on Target online last year or something, and it just showed up. I'm like, cool.
I'll back order something.
Sure.
The way you explained it, he was like, "Oh, I just received this. One of my PR people sent it over." Because Turbo's on a lot of podcasts. He's on the Bad Motivators. He's on Scruffy. He's like, even when he gets mentioned on Blue Harvest, you are Mr. Worldwide. You are Australian Tom Chansky.
They're all just mates, so
you do get around, and we're glad to have you here. How about this week? What did we just witness? Like,
that was nothing that I was prepared for.
No, I mean, they got the flute at the end of the last episode, so we're all thinking Din's coming back, but I didn't think the Book of Boba Fett show was going to have an episode where there was no Boba Fett in it.
I'm not mad about it.
No one could ever predict that. Like, I think we're all thinking maybe he shows up at the end of this episode, or a bit of Boba action on Tatooine, and then he shows up at the end. But like, it's literally the first scene, behind those butcher curtains.
Just the first scene, Matt. Just the first one.
Before we see, but just before we go, I got a crazy ass theory, because you remember because I've got a theory about this episode and how it fitted in, because remember we were talking like, and there was word that it was going to be 6 episodes or it was going to be 9. And then all of a sudden it's 7. And that was just a little bit strange. And I don't think they've inserted this episode because of bad ratings or trying to spice it up. But I do feel like it's quite possible that with the delays to The Mandalorian, they thought, let's find a way to bring it in now and make a 6 or 7. And because it's going to be, we're not going to see Mandalorian for at least a year, I reckon, or at least 10 to 12 months.
So it's just a tease.
So they fit.
Oh, it's a perfectly placed tease. I'll take one of these teases every day of the week.
No, but you're right, because I think Obi-Wan's also 6. So, and all the Marvel series, limited series are like 6. So you could be right. It could be,
Like I don't subscribe to the whole, the show's in trouble and we're going to change the last 3 episodes. But I did hear
that would be impossible
something
for them to change it mid-season.
Course correction, but I did read something today, Twitter, that Pedro Pascal is credited for the last 3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett.
That's cool.
So.
But it plays into the thing when they first announced all these like Mandalorian
rumor that he was
intertwined. It plays into that Ahsoka's intertwined somehow into obviously into Mandalorian. Those 3 are all going to be intertwined. So this really makes sense. I couldn't have loved it anymore. It was so good. If that was a bit of spice. Yeah.
Now they've seen it, it makes perfect sense. It's like the main story is the Mandoverse, or what was it, Marvel television universe, something like that.
It's the Mandalorian television universe.
Yeah. So that's the main thread, right? And all these characters come in, and this is just like Book of Boba Fett is a tangent. It's like episode or series 2.5, and now we're just branching back into the Mandoverse. It just makes sense now that we've seen it.
Dill said something to me. Dill said, what did you say the other day, Dill? You go, it just shows something around that Din is just such a better bounty hunter. Like it was, it just shows that he's the number one.
Matt and I were joking around and saying, fuck Boba as much as we love him. Give us Mandalorian all day, every day.
It's just amazing that when The Mandalorian was first announced, people like Hawes, everyone was like, oh, I would much prefer a Boba Fett show if we're going to be going about some Mandalorian. Then it came out and it was so good. And now we're getting a Boba Fett show. And, you know, it's been good. But then the minute Din comes back, everyone's just like, oh, the puppy dog eyes come out. It's like, yeah. Oh, I've missed you. It's been too long. And are we all magpies? Like, is it just the shiny armor that does it for us or something? Like, I think personally we've had more to build off of 2 seasons of Mandalorian and the whole relationship between Grogu and Din that I think we just aren't as emotionally attached to Boba as of yet. But, you know, based on this reaction and everyone's reaction this week, I think it goes to show that, you know, everyone's excited.
The thing that I'm not enjoying is that everyone's sort of dissing Boba, and like I don't like that approach. Like, you can like both, and they can be all part
absolutely
of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's more just hey, remember the Mandalorian? This is all part of the same universe. Here we are, and it's all connected.
And I think it's all going to link really well together in the next couple of eps with that the fact that, you know, he obviously Din's going to come back and help, but they've both got their different sides, and I love that. I like that it's 2 different angles.
But I would say that they're both. Oh, sorry, Matt. I would say that they're both kind of. They've got the same themes. They're both like stranger in a strange land. Like, Boba Fett shouldn't be, you know, the crime lord. He's in this place where he's uncomfortable. He's coming from being a bounty hunter. He hasn't got a family. He's looking for a family. But the same thing is happening with Din, right? It's the same themes all over again. They're kind of like lost brothers in a way. Like, that's the way I see it.
Oh, very good, Turbo. This is a play. We're gonna at the end of the episode review. We're gonna do a little bit of cockadoodle speculating and theories. We're gonna put some darts out there, because I've been cooking up some juicy theories. Like, sounds like we're on the same page here, but I just got a devil's advocate question for you at the moment. Is Din Djarin at the moment the most centralized and important character in the Star Wars saga as of right now? And everything revolves around him, and this is where the franchise is heading at the moment, do you think?
No.
I think he's the key figure for if you think about Star Wars, people think Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah, but
at the moment, I think the next 5 years is going to be around.
But it's going to be centered around not necessarily him, but the Mandalore and Darksaber and those things. It might not have to be about him, but like all circling around those sort of.
I think he's the catalyst for this new big bang that we're getting with the universe expansion. So, because I think he'll be in. It's an educated guess that you could say he's going to be in most of, if not each of these series, but, you know, I think they're building up to something much larger at play here, i.e. whether it be Thrawn or...
And then expand on that.
Yeah, correct.
No, lots at play, and, you know, so much to talk about, so let's just get into it. You know, it didn't take long. It was like the Ahsoka episode almost, in that she was just there in the first 5 seconds, and you know, you got the silhouette behind the butcher's drapes, but you instantly knew immediately when you saw the spear. And I mean, Dill, what you take it away? What were you feeling in where were your dopamine levels in the first 5 seconds?
I can't say they were Luke Skywalker level, but I was a little bit half chubbed, I'm not going to lie. I saw the spear and I was cheering. I was cheering.
It was his anniversary, so he's probably a bit tired. He's not a young man anymore.
That was awesome.
And did you see all the Wagyu Bantha hanging up and all that sort of shit? It was.
Oh yeah.
Well, what? It's not Bantha.
Was it Bantha?
What is it, Matt?
I would say it's like.
Oh, I was just
it was
picking a random. I was
they were
picking a random
nerfs.
critter. Yeah.
No, they're nerfs.
Yeah. They were, yeah. I just love seeing a space butcher, like not something I
they
ever
were
picked.
nerfed. Is that a thing?
They were.
Nerf herders.
Nerf
Because in the
herders.
concept
There's
art, in the concept art at the end of the credits, there's like Nerf
1-0.
heads. Yeah.
He's counting.
What were those characters? What are those? What that race called?
Platoonians.
Tatooinians.
Yeah, they were funny, man. They were so fucking
Bryce
ugly.
Dallas Howard actually likes using them. She used them in her first episode of Mando on the village. So, yeah, good start. It was very, that sort of butchers thing is heavily used in gangsters. It was very much in Goodfellas, Sopranos, very much a callback to that. And, yeah, it was just action from the first second.
How do you think about the first episode one-liner? Obviously, the old
I can bring you in warm.
I was loving that.
You in cold. It's amazing how quickly Mando has become sort of iconic. Like there are certain things like the Mando theme.
Yeah.
Is the Mando theme like, and also like the end credit song is just on another level. Like, you start dancing like a moron. I'm starting to get there for Boba, but I'm not the same. I'm just not as immature and stupid for that song as I am for Mando. And then he's got, those classic one-liners that are just, and he's only been around for 3 years and it's so embedded into our Star Wars soul that it hits those fairy dust moments. So, it was such a good start.
I was going to say, what do you think about him returning to the thing that he knows best, which is bounty hunting? Because, obviously he's been through a lot, getting separated from Grogu. And did you guys expect that he would go back to his old ways? Or at least...
I had a thought, actually, after seeing... Yeah, and it's a good call, Turbo, because I was thinking, is he trying to occupy himself whilst, he's away from Grogu? But once I rewatched the episode, I don't know whether it was... he needed the money to buy the new ship or whatever that we see later on. But, yeah, I don't know whether this is just something he's doing to spend his time or...
I thought it was good. It makes sense.
He's definitely regressed to basically this is all he'd ever known. He had his foundling. It was him. He had a family. It was him and Grogu. That's gone. I mean, I would love to see 5 minutes after, just the 5 minutes after Luke Skywalker left. I would love to see. So,
what?
Fly in a wall.
Bo, you're obviously going to take the ship and leave. Is someone give me a lift somewhere? Like I would just love to see that little bridge between what happens afterwards. Because I'll be like, what the fuck just happened? Who were the So
but it's like the the lift door closes. He's like, all right.
What do we
Well,
do?
give me a ride. Anyone going to Tatooine? So, yeah, look, he's obviously regressed back to what he knows, but he's so much darker now. Like, he sliced the bounty in half.
I love that. That was so cool.
He was all about carbonite, bringing him in dead or, I'm sure that with bounties it's either dead or alive, but there's usually a price drop for dead. He doesn't care. He just
and you would have to cut the head
half.
off as well. Like he would have had to cut the head off. Yeah.
Was anyone else getting something about Mary vibes when because he cut the head off, had it in a bag, and then he is get the bus to the casino or to wherever those Ishi-Tib was, and he's just holding a head in the bag. It's like that something about Mary, a hitchhiker who was going to kill Ben Stiller and had a head in the bag. So he's just wandering around on the bus with a head.
I like that. We did you just forget there's lifts and all this random shit that's obviously in the world. You know what I mean? And just cruising, having a walk there. Fuck this. Wish I could fucking fly there. He's just got nothing. He's got to walk. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And the random.
Did you watch the new Rockstars vid on this episode yet?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see how this scene with the, as he's going into the lift and everything, it's a 2 minutes and 10 second
2 minutes and 18 seconds of up and down. Because, it's amazing how much I would love to know how much each episode cost, because I reckon they were saving their shekels for this because they spared no expense.
So
you know,
on that,
to
on
use
that
a John
topic,
Hammond pun.
Like Robert Rodriguez is known to be like, I wouldn't say a cheap filmmaker, but he makes do with a very, very low budget and does what he can within that. But I would say that like his episodes, I think chapter 1 and 3 with Robert Rodriguez, they're my least favorite. And visually they were kind of the most low budget, if you like. They started looking a little bit like TV, but all the other three from the other three directors have just been insane, especially this one. This one is cinematic. Like some of the shots, we'll talk about it later, but it's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, like the Halo planet sort of, you know, that moving star, the planet sort of goes day and night. And I mean, I haven't played Halo for a long time, but I get the Halo vibe reference from it.
Man, I was like, hang on a minute, that's a Halo ring. Elysium. There's so many references it could be to.
Exactly. But my question is, why is this Ishi-Tib so needy? Like, hey, Mando, thanks for doing that. Come and have dinner with us. And he's like, nah, give me the information. It's like, oh, come on, just sit down, have a meal. He's like, fuck off. I'll sell his heads to someone else. And like he's just so into, like he's like, give me the information. You know, I got to find this family that just don't, you know.
I mean, he didn't want to fuck around. He's going to his next. He wants. He's very determined. Din is very determined in what he wants. So I don't think he wants that small talk. And perhaps they were trying to get him to do.
His horse just almost fucking cut his leg off, right?
Go to the next step.
Oh yeah, we did miss that. So
yeah, we did miss the whole fact.
You see how heavy the Darksaber was. Like it was. I loved he was using it, but he wasn't using it proficiently. And then I loved how he singed his leg, self-inflicted, and now he's sort of like limping around in the need of some. Well, I actually thought when the Ishi-Tib goes, oh, I've got another job for you, she was going to go, oh, Boba Fett needs help on Tatooine or something. Like I thought that was where that was going, and he's just like, nah, see ya, I'm going to find some tattoos on the wall to find the secret location in the corridors. And then all of a sudden, Thick Boy and the Armourer appear out of nowhere. How did that hit you, Turbo?
Yeah, look, I love everything to do with the Children of the Watch. I mean, like it's obviously a cult, and they're trying to bring him back in, and but they're very. I would say the Armourer in this one is very much like she's like a mother figure, like she's almost telling him what to do and how he should behave, and I kind of get the feeling that this is more of a test. Like he wanted to. I get the feeling he wants to go and meet up with them to. Obviously, they helped in the last battle or whatever the chapter that was, and they sort of dispersed. But I kind of get this as a feeling of like it's almost like an ultimatum. He wants to find out if he still wants to be with part of them or not. So
fits in.
So it's kind of like a decision point. Like I don't think he necessarily wants to stay with them, but I think he wants to kind of test them as well as they'll test him as well. So no, it was.
What vibes were you getting, Cal, mate, when you saw this?
Well, it's along those lines around reference to that religion. He even said, like, he goes, "It's my religion." I think he wants to so much to be a part of that history,
he wants to be a part of something, not necessarily that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he feels like he's
desperate for family.
Yeah,
that's right. He's searching for connection with something, and it might not necessarily be that religion, but it's
Now Viszla, that is it Paz? What is his name?
Viszla.
Yeah, he's a big son of a bitch, isn't he?
Is that Jon Favreau? Yeah,
it is Jon Favreau.
So. Okay. Yeah.
And John played pre-Viszla in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jon Favreau's always been a big Mandalorian person and has had ties to it. And there's a joke because he also played Rio in Solo that there's a Rio Viszla out there as well. So, unconfirmed, but it's a good little theory. Now,
sorry, I just have to crack a beer. There we go.
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
That ASMR, that sounded beautiful.
So, she asked what sort of weapon caused this damage, and there's such a good little scene set up. Like, she gets Paz to hand it over to her. She plays around with it and then hands it back to him. And you sort of see, Paz has got a mask on, but you can see he is not happy about this, about his family relic. This is his legacy, and it's in Din's hand. And these two have had beef before as well. But this guy's never happy. Do
we know his relationship? Like, is he like a second cousin twice removed to the original?
No, he's Rio Viszla's son, so that's his great-great-grandfather or whatever. Like,
right.
It's his family.
I think he's a direct
He's
line.
not like the fifth cousin. Like he's the direct descendant of House Viszla.
But she used that so easily, when she held it, the armorer, she was just like, it was so easy. Did you notice that?
What sort of vibes are you getting from this armor? Because in season 1, she was pretty neutral. I didn't get the friendliest, nicest vibes from her in this one. I mean, I got a theory about her a bit later on, but I also think she's telling some of the story from her point of her culty, one-sided point of view, and I think she may be a villain coming up in the next.
I think you and I might be on the same. Yeah, I think you and I are thinking the same thing, Matt. And does it have to do with her helmet?
It does, because there are 4 spikes on the top.
Yes.
And that's what Maul's people did.
Yes.
But I got a question for you. She says this spear can pierce Mandalorian armor and poses a threat to Mandalorians, and we don't make weapons from Beskar.
Beskar.
I'm sorry, but the Darksaber's a weapon. And also, you just made him whispering birds, like. So
yeah, good point. Whispering birds.
It seems a little misleading there. Like, they make weapons. I mean, they say, the Beskar's all about defense and armor and blah blah blah, but I found that a little bit misleading. And let's melt it down and make me thrill for Grogu.
We'll get to that later.
Yes, I mean, the spear is melted down, and that obviously, as soon as that happens, that's the cue for a flashback, and also Matt Frost intestines clench, and obviously a flashback scene. But although this flashback scene was really good, like the Great Purge, it's been talked about by Moff Gideon, season 1, episode 8. I mean, you can only get Terminator vibes from what we saw.
It was
sweet. That's it. It was so good pickup. Yep.
It was mental.
It was too dangerous to send any humans down. The planet was getting glassed. It was crazy. It was. But do you feel like it's a dramatic reenactment, and it may not be as and it may not be as destroyed as it's being made out to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's lines in all the episodes, like, Boba's like, oh, didn't they turn that place to glass? And Bo-Katan is, don't believe everything you hear. And, the armorer's lady says, anyone who didn't walk the way was killed in the genocide of the Night of 1,000 Tears and the Great Purge. Well, no, Bo-Katan survived, Axe-Wove survived. What's that wrestler chick called? Cosca Reeves survived. Like, there are people trying to bring this back. Like, but they're always like, nah, we're the only ones that survive because we were on Concordia or Concord Dawn. I really feel like her spin of the story is not 100%.
No, because I feel like the, and it can be taken anyway, but I feel like the Empire is afraid of the Mandalorians.
Well, they were. That's why they bombed the shit out of them.
I think they still are, and that's why they're spreading this story of, it's completely wiped out, and now it's been. We don't know if anyone's actually been at this stage, and whether that's where Din goes now. But, you know, they're frightened of the fact if they rebuild, then they're going to be a force to reckon with.
You know, with Star Wars, you can't really trust anyone's point of view. So, like, the truth is always in the middle. Like, Bo-Katan has one story, the Armorer has another story. Truth is probably somewhere in the middle. So, you know, at the moment, you really can't trust anyone. Before I forget, we forgot about another point we're going to mention. The Armorer mentions that there's 3 of them left, meaning the Children of the Watch or the cult. Do you think she means including Mando or separate to Mando? Because she specifically mentions 3.
Because I think up to that point, she didn't know that he'd taken the helmet off and, you know, broken the vow. So she probably included him at that stage.
Yeah.
So who do you think's the third person then?
No, I don't think anyone. I just thought it was interesting that she specifically called that out. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of the.
He might be, but that's the thing. He might be out. It might be a third person because they sort of have some rules from episode 1 of season 1, like only one goes out at a time. So if there's 2 hanging indoors, then there's one on the surface side, and they're picking up milk, cereal, various Mandalorian treats. Although my wife asked me a question today, and she goes, when Mandalorians have sex, because they're trying to repopulate and stuff, do they take the helmets off? And I was just like, oh my God.
Good question, though.
It's a good question. My guess is this cult is no, but I was like, well, they'd probably just take the pants off and go to town, and then
maybe they do IVF or something. Who knows?
Test tubes. Yeah,
that's what the back to take does.
So that's my. So just if you have any questions for us, Cal has set up an email, TMABYpodcast@gmail.com. I don't think my wife will email that question. She'll just get them that direct. But if anyone does have a question from our listeners, send it to that, and we will answer them on the pod. It took 33 episodes to set that up.
That scene was the Armorer mentioning about attachment. Like, she specifically called out the Jedi can't have attachments, so she obviously knows about Grogu and trying to keep them separate. Sort of saying, okay, no, Grogu won't. Well, Grogu's not allowed to have attachments, and sort of pulling him away from Grogu. I thought that was kind of
knows about the Force. Yeah.
That's also really shifty behavior, because before that she's like, all right, there's this race called Jedi. I sort of heard about them. You probably need to go on a mission and look for them and find out. And then he comes back to, oh yeah, I know all about Jedi. Well, why didn't you tell me about that when I went on my mission? Like, I don't trust this woman. I'm having trust issues. I'm getting really shitty vibes from this woman. And then, so look, I like the sparring. It was great. She's very knowledgeable. She's got her German style sparring, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I love, Dylan only watched this about a month ago, but the Kanan Sabine vibes with the trial of the Darksaber. So we got to see, I love how they're tying. I mean, this show, everything we're seeing now is live action Rebels. The reason why they stopped Rebels when they stopped it is because this was coming. Because I heard there was in Rebels, they had that trial of the Darksaber, and then Sabine sort of just disappeared. And there was talk she was going to get her own show as a Mandalorian with the Darksaber, but then they put that on ice because they sort of did that Take Back a Mandalore season 4, episode 1 and 2, and they have this live action thing coming. So they didn't want to sort of canonize that because then it would sort of take away we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now without retconning. So, no, I love it. As a huge Rebels fan, I'm absolutely loving this this renaissance of stuff we're getting. Like there's so much to play with. Maddie, what about you? How are you feeling about all the Rebels love that I'm putting out there?
Yeah, so I've only seen Rebels once, so it's kind of enticing me back to go and do a rewatch. Like I wasn't across all those key episodes. I've probably only watched them once, so yeah, it's not a big thing for me. I know roughly the references, but I'd be keen to sort of go a bit deeper and do a rewatch. But I'm not going to promise a rewatch right now because you guys are hold me to it.
Well, I'm going to quote someone who texted me at 8:39. He goes, "Much to learn you have," and that was what you sent to me. So I'm going to send that back to you. It was a different topic, but the premise applies. The same premise applies.
Yeah.
And trust me, get amongst the rebels. It's so good. And it's I saw a tweet the other day. It's like, what if everything we're watching is just all this side action that's leading to the big main event that is Grand Admiral Thrawn? And
I'll die if that happens.
As a Thrawn stan, this is what Catherine Neen is getting from Andor. Hopefully, we're going to get some dates around that. What she's getting from Andor, I'm definitely maybe not on the same level. I'm not going we're one day closer to Thrawn, but I'm pumped. Now, this Paz Mando showdown. I'm not picking on women. I'm not picking on this armor thing, but she seemed really fine with Paz killing Mando. But as soon as the fight sort of moved in Mando's favor, it stopped. So am I just harnessing this woman? Am I picking on her, or
I think you're picking?
Are you getting these vibes too?
I don't think they're going to kill. Like, it's not to kill, is it?
No, I think it was just like sparring and sparring.
A duel. I think the rules of a duel in the general sense is it's the first person to yield, or if you choose to execute them, then that's the way you do it. So I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't think they would choose to kill each other. I think it would just make the other person yield, and you win that combat, much like you did with Gideon, right?
Paz was close. Paz said, "I'm going to end your clan today." He was killing him. There was no, we're just having a little muck around.
Yeah, she sort of stopped it. She sort of stopped it from.
Yeah, but UFC fighters and shit go into the ring and say, "I'm going to kill this guy," and no
one
actually
stabbed him in the leg, though. Didn't he? She stabbed him in the leg.
The way he was doing the way of 1,000 cuts, death via way of 1,000 cuts or something. It's like the old Shinobi way, whatever. But yes, very interesting.
But, anyway, thank God this is the last scene with the armor, because I know it probably look like an agenda to rub this woman out, but I'm just
I'm with you, Matt. I'm very glad that you and I haven't spoke a word. I'd probably. I am interested. I'm probably going to send one by Disney. My people.
Disney,
I'll check the mailbox tomorrow. Hasbro. Hasbro's just around the corner here from here. It's on Ride.
All right.
I thought about driving in and just hanging around the car park until they asked me to leave, but I've only got one more week of leave left, so I'll put that for later in the week.
But yeah, man. You and I haven't said a word to each other all week, right? Since the episode, besides...
That was by choice, but yes.
It was good. Yeah, by choice, okay, I see. But yes, I'm very happy we're on the same page, because I think this will be an interesting discussion at the end.
No, I think so. Save it for the end. Cal, what do you think about this Darksaber, the heaviness, and the thick boy fight?
The thick boy fight was a thick boy fight. It wasn't that super crazy, but it was cool how he dragged the saber a bit. Like, it was a challenge. He got a bit of control of it. I think it plays into later on. He's going to have way better control. Do you know what I mean? He's not just a freak with it straight away, which I think's good. Mm-hmm. And I see him probably kicking ass at some stage in the near future. But yeah, I thought
that's your wish for everything, though. You want everything to be hard, like Adam.
But I thought that there was a lot of pause and just staring when she said about the have you taken your helmet off? That piece, that was pretty intense. I'm like, going, is he going to say it? Is he going to say it? And then he did, and then he's like basically bitched out. He's like, please forgive me. And then,
what can I do to atone? Yeah. I was like, dude, get some balls, man. You don't really want to be with these people. These people suck. What can I do to atone?
Do you think he really meant that?
Yeah, he did. That was genuine. I think he's that desperate. He's like, Grogu's gone. Okay, and then it's like, you have to go have a bath in the lake of Mandaloria, the mines of Mandaloria to have an atonement. So,
but by the way,
I call the mines of Moria.
But yeah, I first I kind of read it. Maybe it was the first time I saw it, but it was him testing them as well. I thought it was just like this is like almost like a last throw of the dice for that cult, right? It was like, okay, I'm going to be tested. They're going to ask me about the helmet. They're going to do this, and it's like this is the tipping point, right? And I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. I got a different feeling.
Maybe he just wanted supplies, and he's like, God, good forges hard to find. I'll just use that bitch and get some new stuff, and then I'll be on my way.
I honestly reckon,
and I'll also show off my shiny toys. Hey, check out this Darksaber. That's mine. I rule Mandalore.
There'll be a scene. There'll be a scene in the future where he is in that lake and he gets for sure. That there's no way
Okay,
that
so
just gets.
if so they're saying the lake's destroyed, but everyone's saying that Mandalore's the mine's been destroyed. So are we saying?
Well,
That's
it's
a-
living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore. Are the waters living or not? I don't know. It could be just like
when I think of this, like I think he'll have some sort of like, remember when Thor was in the Dark World looking up I think it was the Infinity Stones or something, and he's sort of having those flashbacks for that. That's the sort of vibe I'm going to get for this. He's just going to.
Could it be like it's similar to Lord of the Rings, the One Ring? Like the One Ring is like a heavy burden to everyone, like including Din. The Darksaber is like a heavy thing to hold or possess. Do you think he's going to?
Yeah. So are we going to talk about the reason?
Is this going to be?
Sorry, Turbo. You go.
Is at the end of it just going to be him destroying the Darksaber?
No way.
I think so.
This Darksaber is like the Excalibur of Mandalore, and
I'd say it's more like the One Ring
because of the curse and
I think it's a heavy burden to anyone that holds it.
That's what I was going to say. Are we going to talk about
Din is resisting it though? Like, what were you going to say, Dylan? Spit it out, man.
No. Sorry, I was just going to say, are we going to talk
the runway's
about
clear,
the reason why?
Too many mats.
I was just going to say, are we going to explain for those who may not know the reason this blade's cursed and why it's heavy and et cetera, et cetera?
Well, obviously Bo-Katan received it from Sabine, and the armorer explained how, like, that's the thing. I don't think if Bo-Katan fought for the sword that she's going to put up much fight against a bajillion TIE bombers. I feel like that event was going to happen regardless. I feel like that there's some propaganda. Oh, yeah, stick with the cult. Just do the way. Wear the right way. Bo-Katan, dumb woman, just ruled by name, didn't deserve it. She fucked up, and it's all her fault. But lucky we were doing the way on the other side of the moon, and we're all survivors. There's something there.
Are you saying the blade isn't cursed?
No, I'm not saying it's not cursed. I'm just saying that the propaganda spin is not as the blame is not as directional as it's been handed. I mean, there's some great tweeting going on between Katie Sackhoff and Emily Swallow as well. Like, it's almost to the point that bitch talking bad about me, and they're sort of playing it up that because she hasn't had a chance to defend herself. She's not in this episode. We all think that she's not happy that Din's got the blade. No one seems to be happy about it as well. So there's so much storyline to play with. Like, you've got so many different angles you can go. That's probably why they could afford to just throw episode 1 in the middle of all this for us. But I just wanted to ask a question on. So, Brinket texted me saying, "Oh, who dobbed Mando in?" And I'm like, "What? About the mask?" I'm like, "Okay, no, these guys just check in constantly. Did you take the mask off? No. Okay, cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Did you take the mask off? No. Okay, good. Like, that's just the constant thing they're checking in on. But the minute he did, where's the loyalty and solidarity? Gone. You're out. You're an apostate, or you're finished. You're not a Mandalorian. Bye." But you can keep the man.
Sounds like a you problem. That's pretty much how it was. It's like the mine's destroyed. Sounds like a you problem. See you, buddy.
Kicked out. They only got 3. Now they got 2. It was a bit odd. But let them take the saber as well.
Yeah, take the saber. It's yours. Take the little bag of metal, which we don't know what it is, but it looks like Baby Yoda when it's even wrapped up. Chainmail.
I think after Matt said it was mithril, like chainmail, it made so much sense because there's a scene where the links are like falling to the floor after they're being forged. That I was holding on to hope, Turbo. I was saying to Matt and Cal in our chat, the shape of the wrapping, I was thinking it was going to be like another Beskar ball, and it was going to be like a friendship ball that he was going to give to Grogu to like remind him of the ship, the Razor Crest shifter or whatever it was. But yeah, no, I'm a little bit disappointed.
Little helmet would be so funny. A little helmet would be so funny.
He's got the ball.
He's got the ball. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's right. He took it. Yeah.
Can't talk, Matt. He's still got that. That's
how funny would a little Beskar helmet be? A little funny
Jinx.
Yeah. We'll find out.
We'll see. But so that sort of section of the show finishes, and we sort of get some good levity here, where it's also so relatable in that we've all been there. We've all been in the airport. Oh, yeah, got to check it. You can't take this on board, and I can't take any of your weapons. And when he put all that in a suitcase, did you immediately think, Dill, that this is where the Darksaber gets stolen? Like,
yeah, it was being set up that way, right? He turns around and says, "I know exactly what's in that box." Like, I don't know.
Did you?
It's like when your luggage goes missing, right?
I paused on the thing to see if it actually moved, and it did. It was a little bit different
when it came back.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if we were supposed to think this, but and we didn't see them on board, but I thought that was the same transport as the Pikes were on, right? The first thing I thought was,
it's the same.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
and I thought Mando was going to maybe even sit next to a Pike on the transport, like all
that would have been hilarious.
And then I thought maybe the Pikes would actually swap bags or whatever and actually get the saber. Maybe I was thinking too far ahead, but it's strange that they didn't show any Pikes.
Yeah, but I think
it's not the same ship as the Pikes, because that ship parked in Mos Espa, and this one parked in Mos Eisley.
It's just a cargo ship.
But it's not the same ship the Pikes are on. It's just a cargo ship.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's the same ship, not the exact same ship.
How do you know where the Pikes landed? They just landed in a desert space. Was it?
No, because that was Mos Espa, where the speeder bike, the mods were.
Yeah, but he can go between towns. It's not far.
Shuttleport, mate.
I
honestly think something was moved.
It may be the same ship. It's just maybe just a ship that landed on Tatooine.
But anyway, I just thought that they meant for you to think that it was going to be the Pikes. They showed it was the previous scene with the Pikes getting off the same similar looking transport. Yeah. I thought there was.
Listen, I would like. Maybe we'll find out next week if it's the same. Like Mando gets off one side and the Pikes are on the other, and okay.
But I reckon there might be some. There'll be some, like, the stuff got moved. It wasn't perfectly exactly the same, and I don't know if that was.
But you're in a ship, like that cargo in that box is quite loose.
If you go back and watch it, go look at the shit ain't moving that much, and I actually think on the lines you're saying, Turbo, it could have been fucked around with. Like, we goes to turn the Darksaber on, it doesn't turn on. Like, it's just something's wrong.
No, that's not happening.
No way. I'm not saying the Darksaber. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't think so.
Why wouldn't they line it up perfectly?
Spot the difference. I might do spot the difference.
Why didn't they? How fucking hard is it to get it right?
No, because those luggage press down hard.
Luggage move.
No, shut up. Go watch it.
It wasn't in cut out foam. I'll go watch it. All right.
If it moves, it'll be all up against the edge.
That's right. I'm with you, Cal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least you two have forged a bond, over a suitcase. Very strong bond. But
I'll sit in the common sense world over here.
Yeah, thank you. You and me, Dylan. We're just the normal. It's just luggage that was at the end. It was there at the beginning and the end, and then moved on to the storyline.
All I have to say on that is, Cal, if you're right, You can fucking tell me you told me so. That's insane if you call that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, it's a faulty Darksaber. The pikes have to. Oh my God, J.J. Abrams has
it wouldn't have been a
taken
Darksaber.
over the next
episode,
and we're going to have a mission to find the functioning Darksaber. No, it's the same. Everything's fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you? Anyway,
we're doing well, mate.
Moving on. Oh, I did like the scene with the little Rhodian kid. And I would have loved it if Din had gone, want me to cut your chains, Rhodian? That would have been awesome.
No hard feelings, mate.
True. How did you feel, Turbo, seeing Pelimoto again?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say she was the greatest character in Mando, but I think in this episode she was pretty funny. Like a lot of the stuff she brought up, she played a big role in this. Like, you know, huge chunk of dialogue, and you know, and she was. We'll get onto it, but all the stuff about the Jawas and she dated a Jawa once, and some of the stuff was pretty wacky. But I think, I think it was good to see her again with droids.
The droid, and I love seeing the BD-1 droid from Jedi Fallen Order game. I don't play very often. Sorry, have never played properly. But I did like the droid, very cute. And I love how they obviously used all the money on the Halo ring and the, you know, and the stuff that's coming up next as well. So the Womp Rat was just like, oh, look, I'm being swallowed, and then Mando shoots it straight away. You don't really see it.
They
said, we're not waiting
behind. Yeah, but it was the first time we saw Womp Rat on screen. I think we talked about this. It was the first time we've actually seen a Womp Rat on screen before. Because all the other things previously were Scurriers.
Well, to be fair,
me and Turbo's chats on Wednesday night. Turbo had a really good night. I'm going to give you some points. Dilly, what's your point, buddy?
I was just going to say, to be fair, I'm pretty sure I'm referred to as a Womp Rat, so, you know, I'm seen around here or there.
But nobody's tuning in to watch you on the screen, so the Womp Rat wins. Now, we did call this last week. Sorry, I called this last week, but it was, as Matt pointed out, that was all over Twitter the week before. So the story about the Naboo fighter did come to fruition. So what did you think, Matty, when you saw this Nubian N1 fighter?
I did
of the Royal Guard of Naboo.
I did hear the rumor the week before, and I thought, that's never going to happen. That's ridiculous. And then I just put it to the back of my mind. And then when I saw it, I went, actually, that's pretty cool. Like, I thought that works for me. I just, and it's a good bridge. Like, the thing I always think is, so I kind of grew up in, I guess, my era of my age. A lot of people don't like the Phantom Menace or the prequels. And some people have sort of changed their tune over the years. And I was, I've grown to love them more as well, but I've never hated on them. But there's a lot of people out there that are like just completely discarded the prequels, but they love Mandalorian because it's more like traditional, you know, original trilogy Star Wars. I love that they've just gone, fuck it, let's just put in a prequel ship and let's see who we can piss off. And
legit scenes
between, that's
from
right.
From the pod race and stuff.
It legitimizes everything in the prequels, and it just brings it together and mashes it up and just says, This is Star Wars. It's all just part of this good, like,
the tapestry of Star Wars.
This that's the word.
Everything. There you
tapestry is the word.
But there was everything in like you know, this was like, this ship's faster than a Farthia. That's the animal from the last. They were really trying to piss people off. They're like, okay, what are they? What's the most divisive Star Wars? Last Jedi. We'll put Phantom Menace in. I'm surprised they didn't have like taxation of trade routes or something, or a blockade. And
I honestly was pointing at the screen, kind of laughing. I was just going, Star Wars reference, and it was great. I was enjoying myself.
There were you can judge an episode by the amount of memes. I mean, I saw so many memes this week. Like there was like, you know, the one with Leo points at the screen. They did Cal Kestis and BD-1. They did Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator for the Night of the Thousand Tears. There was
Queen
like
I see the one about the N1 Starfighter.
No, I didn't see that one.
Ooh,
but Maybe you can make that one up. That's a good one.
Right. I'll send it to you.
And then so when Din asked for the Jawas to bring the same thing from the Death Star trash compactor, there was a meme saying, oh yeah, Qui-Gon rocks up to, instead of going to Watto's junkyard, he goes, I need parts for a J-type 327 Nubian, and there's Jawas there. He gets the part, and then it goes, directed by George Lucas, the end. So and that was quite funny that part from the Death Star trash compactor that they're sort of trying to wedge the door when it's closing, sort of is the hot rod, the NOS stick for the Nubian.
NOS stick, yeah.
There was a complicated name to it.
They basically just threw in an LSV8 and made it just a mean starfighter now.
It was so loud, eh? It was sick.
It's just a fucking V8 Nubian now. It's awesome.
The when she goes the dating, I don't want to skip over her dating a Jawa. That was fucking so funny. I was laughing.
Bro, hearing her talk in whatever I don't know, is it Jawaian? Like,
yeah,
she was doing.
Yeah, that was so good.
She was a bit over the top, but she was filling in the time gap. I mean, some people were complaining, the ship took too long to build.
Nah, God, no.
I loved it. I loved all of it.
Give me the montage.
Yeah.
It was very good. But I'm just going to go Frosty's chat, though, because he was in good form. Let me just find it here.
Just while you get it up, Matt.
Yeah, you go.
There's the thought that, this is the ship being all chromed out and whatever is the Filoni's way of, bringing back the old Star Wars into the new and, making it all shiny and, it's a throwback. Pretty much this whole episode was that. So nice little touch, I thought.
I reckon it'll get a paint job. I reckon it'll have a paint job before maybe in Mando 3.
They'll keep it the same sort of.
I think they're going to keep
Mando.
Yeah.
In Mando 3, I'm saying in season 3, there probably might be a fancy little paint job. And Grogu's poking his head through that hole in the back. The little droid compartment, Grogu's head's there. Yeah. That was just a Grogu port. Let's put a sticker there.
Yeah, that's it.
That was sick. It has I got these vibes of, it's working, Anakin when they turned it on. You know what I mean? That was,
yeah.
That was
sick.
sick.
Man, how funny is
Frosty.
Oh, here we go.
He goes, year 8 creative writing level scripts. How can we suggest that Mando's N1 is sort of like a hot rod? We could subtly design it to suggest it has modified engines like a drag car. Oh, yes, but do we have to be subtle? Can't we just plonk a big blower on the front and have it make hot road noises? I guess. And then it's like poetry. I get the people that say the episode was a love letter to the Star Wars universe, but how many good love letters have you read in your life? And then,
most of them are corny, really.
Yeah,
he's been in good form though. They should start putting a health bar on the screen for all the characters. He's good. And Abachar would have a well-equipped first aid kit. The silly fuck didn't even put a dressing on it. Is that the way? Walking around with an exposed burn. Dude. And then he sends me a photo of 3 guinea pigs watching The Mandalorian. So it's been good.
So when he took off and he's flying, and then she goes, put your whatever between the two suns, and he goes through the on the pod race.
Clouds.
Yeah, Beggars Canyon. It was legit. They just pulled a scene to save money off the Phantom Menace. A couple of them.
No, that was redone properly.
I know that. Obviously, I know that.
Sorry, just checking. But I got to say, Tatooine council rates are not being used properly because that gate is still not repaired 40 years later. I'm, if that was happening at the Hornsby Shire, you'd be very upset.
The Empire's not good with roadworks, I don't think.
Yeah. It was cool, though. That was a sweet scene.
And then we had the
another Womp Rat
police. Another Womp Rat, a visual sighting, a proper one.
Yeah.
And the X-Wings pull him over. And then Maddie was
this
just in
is fucking
fantastic form
hilarious.
here because that was Max Lloyd Jones.
Yep.
Fan of the podcast, retweeted one of our tweets about Luke Skywalker. Just throw that in. He was playing the lieutenant that was asking all the questions. And then we had Carson Teva, who doesn't like paperwork and was sort of like, let's just let him off with a warning. And then I feel like he's the Ranger of the New Republic that they're sort of going to be. He's the detective sort of piecing things together. And the only one who's really got a clue about what's going on in this lawless society that's happening.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Columbo of Star Wars, I would say. He doesn't like paperwork and, I don't know, Columbo may be the reference is past Dylan, but...
Way past Dylan. I got it. Callan, do you know Columbo?
I've got no idea.
No.
Columbo reference on the Star Wars podcast. Anyway.
All right, here we go. I'm starting to Google. Here we go. Columbo.
You'll have to Google it. But I love it when he just like, oh, you want to answer some questions? And then he's just like, no.
See ya.
Nos button.
Yeah.
Dianoga part just kicks in and bang, out of there. And how did he get his hyperdrive without turning it on? It's like, that was his sublights. So then there was the final, if it hadn't been a gushing love letter to the prequels, he comes down and it's Wizard. And Brinkhat, he'll kill me for saying, he texts me going, he watched episode 1 the next day. He's got COVID, so he's been locked in a room for 4 or 5 days, and he just started watching episode 1. And he goes, oh, did you know that Kitster said Wizard in episode 1? And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Dude. He's like, so many great Easter eggs. And then today he's like, oh, did you know that the Death Star, that part in the Death Star was a thing? I'm like, dude, please, like, me and Turbo. That was like 4 days ago news, man. Like, anyway, it's on the house.
People work at a different pace, Matt. Everyone's different.
Okay. Exactly. He would be a guest on this. He's going to be a guest on this podcast, but it's been a year and he still doesn't have a microphone. So he's working on it. And I said, Amazon, just get one, and we'll turn all the text that we do into a guest spot. Anyway, it's on the house, but he needs to see a little friend first. Now, do you think that next week he'll just rock up and they'll just go straight into the Pike stuff? And it'd be like, oh, how'd you go with your little friend? Yeah, we're all good. I'll talk about it later. Let's get on. Let's go fuck some Pike shit up. Or what's going to happen? Let's. What do you think's going to happen there, Turbo?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, there's only 2 episodes left, so you'd imagine that this chapter 6 will be kind of leading up to a big clash or big sort of showdown. So there's not a lot of time to go. Well, it's a Filoni episode.
It's Filoni's.
Yeah. Well, what would Filoni do, really? Like, but there's not a lot of time to go off on another little side quest off to Grogu. So
there's no time for even a Grogu hug.
Maybe it's just implied. Maybe he goes and does it, and we don't see Grogu.
I know, he just goes, how'd you go? Great. All good. Let's go.
We'll tell you about that in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
He breaks the fourth wall, looks towards the camera. Tune in next time on...
Yeah.
Dum-da-dum. But he'd be like, but Muz Kanat, like, a story for another time.
Actually, on that, maybe they're going to have a similar thing at the end of chapter 7, where it's similar to the Boba Fett scene at Jabba's palace, but at the end they're just going to introduce a Mando scene to introduce this into the next season of Mando.
Yeah,
like there's got to be some.
That could be like their way of.
Yeah, I don't reckon he'll make it out of the planet. He'll go to fly away, and something will happen, and he'll have to come back. And then, he'll help out Big Boba, and then like you
Big
just said,
B.
he'll do the old fade away with Grogu, and then Mando 3.
Mando 3 in 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Ratings. We'll start with you, Cal.
Yep.
A, B, C, D, plus, minus.
I gave it an A. Flat an A. It was my favourite episode yet.
Favourite episode was the one that didn't have any Boba Fett in it. So as a Mandalorian episode, what was it at? What's your rating? And as a Book of Boba Fett episode, what do you think what's your rating?
Well, Book of Boba, it wasn't a Book of Boba, it was just straight Mando. Like it really, I think it's going to set up some stuff, which is good. So I'll give it an A both. I really liked it.
Dill?
Do I have to say? I don't know. I've already given things an A+, so I feel ridiculous saying A+.
I told you not to shoot all your bullets. Especially before your anniversary.
If that's the case. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you have no margin for what happens if this week six bounty hunters jump out of a starfighter, 3 rancors show up, and a mythosaur floats out of the ground.
And a seismic charge goes off.
Nah, I'm saving for the best turbo. I don't know how you do tier lists.
No, you're not saving. You've already given A+.
No, S is still. I'm still waiting for something to give an S.
S
is the high. S is the highest you can go in a tier list.
I don't know.
He's made up some
S is
tier
for
list.
shithead. some meta thing that he's made up. Moving on.
I've not
Turbo. What about you, buddy?
I'm trying to think what I scored the other 3. I think, and I wasn't on last week, so I think last week I would have said A-, and I think I gave Chapter 2, the nose lizard one, an A. So I'd say an A. I've got to have somewhere to go, so I'd say an A.
Yeah.
Leaving it.
I'm giving this an A as well. I was listening to Star Wars Underworld because they do ratings as well. And some guy just went, I'm going to change my rating system to like Taco Bell sauce. We've had some milds, we've had some spicy hots, and this one is a spicy hot one. And all the pub was like,
have you guys been to Bell's Hot Chicken at all?
Yes, it's awesome.
So Bell's Hot Chicken,
there's one in
Sydney. There's a couple of places, but one down at Barangaroo. But their rating for hot is hot, fucking hot, really fucking hot. And then the top, there's a couple more, and then the top one is Sex Panther. So,
Sex Panther.
Yeah. So
what's the one below Sex Panther? Yeah, I feel like that would be helpful for Dylan because he's like shot all his bullets on the A+.
Okay. I'll look it up and I'll send you the scale, the spicy scale rating of Bell's Hot Chicken.
Alrighty, we'll get to the business end of the podcast. We got 2 episodes to go. We have so much ground. Whoever's fiddling, stop fiddling. It stopped. It was Dylan. So, theories. Where is the show going? Are we going to get... I think there has to be a season 2 now. I feel like you wouldn't go to the trouble of all this Tusken and backstory and blah, blah, blah. And then... And the Pikes... Either how do you stick the landing here? Or is it you're saving it for more for later? Do you think there's going to be a season 2, Matt?
Of Boba? No, I don't think there is. I think the Boba Fett is truly a side quest of the Mandoverse, what do you want to call it? Yeah. And it's just going to branch back in, and Boba Fett's going to be in it, and it might lead to a Bo-Katan series or whatever series, but the central theme, like you said before, is just going to be Mando. So there's going to be limited series coming in here and there, and then the central sort of series is going to be Mando, I reckon. So we're not going to see the end of Boba Fett, but I think this is just his chunk of the story. And I don't think
book's
there's that
finished, and we're going to move on to a new book.
Yeah,
he'll slot into a few other seasons, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so he's going to come along for the ride, but he's not going to be the central figure.
Absolutely,
This is going to be support act.
I don't think there'll be another Boba Fett season 2. You heard it here first.
Okay. Heard it here first. Okay. Cow, any what do you think we're seeing 6 and 7?
I think he's going to try to get out of the planet. It's not going to work, and something will happen, and they'll kick the shit out of some Pikes, and you'll see him to finish off the season. It'll be prepping for season 3 Mando, and it'll be him, literally leaving to go find Grogu or something like that, and then. Yeah, that's what I think where we're at the moment. I want to see some Pikes.
People are going nuts right now because, like, Gwil, great artist, works with Render Driver. He's like, what if we see this and it's Luke green lightsaber, Mando Darksaber, training, like, oh yeah, hey, there's Grogu. Hey, here's a quick lightsaber lesson. You know, things are in overdrive. I don't think we'll see that. I don't think Luke Skywalker can possibly come back again.
No.
I disagree. Agreed. Sorry.
So, Dill, hit us up with a theory, because I mean, I'm sure we're on the same side of the coin. I think on many things.
Yeah,
we're two parts.
So I think
I'm the Naboo and you're the Gungan. Let's go.
So I think the Armorer is not who she thinks, or not. She's moved to a different agenda than she previously has. I think there was too much of a change in her behavior and the way she spoke in this episode. Her, you know, the way she portrayed a lot of what she spoke about was just her demeanor. That's the word I was looking for. Demeanor's wrong. So I then started thinking into, okay, Darksaber, Maul, she's got spikes on her head. Is she who she says she is? So then that got me thinking, is she maybe working with someone else, maybe possibly in the Crimson Dawn? Could she be working with the Pikes? There has to be a reason she's so reserved. So I don't really have much more than I thought past that. But if I was to give, and Matt, I'll let you finish what you were going to say on this before I move on.
Finish what you started. Thanks, Kylo.
Yeah.
I think like, I'm with Maddie as well on this. Like, I think Boba and Din are very much connected. Like, there are too many buzzwords that are brought in this episode. Like, the armor is like, legend spoke of the mythosaur rising. That was just a weird thing. Like, Boba's armor has the mythosaur, and then there's the prophecy of restoring Mandalore. And I sort of get in this, I feel like Boba and Din combined two Mandalorians that have no tribe, that aren't seen as Mandalorians, and will be united by their non-acceptance of as Mandalorians to take back Mandalore. And they're sort of like, they can't do it without each other. And the Boba is sort of the mythosaur, and Din is the sort of chosen one, the prophecy to restore it. But Din doesn't want it, which sort of leaves Boba with the opportunity to take over Mandalore, to take the Darksaber and let Din go to the Mandoverse. So they'll take back Mandalore. Boba will be the leader of Mandalore, and he'll be an ally of Din, who will go on his merry way with Grogu and fight Thrawn.
I kind of agree with you on there, and they're connected, but I don't see Boba being the leader of Mandalore. I think, I don't think he wants that either, and I think he's a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. I don't think he's not a simple man anymore, because they wouldn't have gone on all this. He wants to rule with respect. He's trying to be a crime lord that's not really a crime lord. He's developing leadership skills, empathy skills, humanizing him. He's still a reluctant leader. Far. I know that, but he's gone through his leadership induction course on Tatooine with the Sand People, and now he'll leave Fennec as the crime lord that she so perfectly fits. Go with Din, take back Mandalore. There'll be the whole Django foundling, and then what if, I think Hawes will explode if Boba is the leader of Mandalore wielding the dark. I don't think he'll live. He will explode that night. True. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
To backtrack a bit, so for Boba to wield the Darksaber, are we going to assume that he then has to win it via combat, or are we going to go down this cursed road of Din handing Boba the Darksaber? Because that's the only gap I can see here.
No, because it might be stolen in luggage again. No. Moff Gideon, and I want to talk on this. How could he wield the Darksaber so much better than what we've seen from the others?
Because he was evil. The Darksaber was evil.
His story is far from over. Like that little dialogue, oh, they should have killed him. Yeah, they should have killed him. But the New Republic, well, they'll definitely sort him out. And
He's in the tribunal, yeah. The
crimes, the tribunal will sort him out. Oh, but, the X-Wing pilots that are sort of, the cops of the road, paperwork, fuck that, war crimes. Yeah, we're not going to touch that. Like, he is far from finished. He's already talked about season 3. Moff Gideon is far from finished, and there's so much story to play out. So I don't know. I'm so pumped by what could happen.
So are you saying
he's not
that
coming back
Gideon may get no? Are you saying Gideon may get the saber back in Mando 3 and Boba gets it from Gideon?
No, because what if Bo-Katan tries to take the weapon? What if the weapon could go to Gideon, could go to Bo-Katan, and chaos could ensue, but it doesn't mean that Din has to be the person who yields or gets killed for the weapon. Like, what if also that this weapon can only be harnessed by a Force-sensitive Mandalorian, like Tar Vizsla was, and there's only one Force-sensitive Mandalorian foundling, and he just got his armor made this week. What if Grogu is the next leader of Mandalore? Like,
possibly.
What the fuck?
There's so much goodness. Like, I mean, it could be none of this. Like, it could be, but I'm so pumped by what if that there's just so much to play. And, in 3 nights, I think, we got 4 episodes of really slow build up, but I enjoyed so much of it. And Favreau, Robert Rodriguez, these guys know what they're doing. They know, and they know that Callan wants hard Boba. I think next week, in 3 days, we're going to see Boba tear the shit out of a shitload of pikes. And then when you think he's finished, the Rancor is going to come out and just go ballistic. And they know what the fans want. And the last 2 episodes are going to go to another level, and then we're going to take that bridge to wherever we're going next, and the possibilities are endless, really.
So my question for you guys is, this army that we're still yet to see, what do we think it's going to be filled with? So we know there's going to be Din, Fennec, Chrysanthemum, Boba. Are we thinking there's going to be
the mods?
Any Tuskens? Are we the Rancor? Are we going to... Who else do we think is going to be coming?
Miggs. What's his name? Miggs from...
Miggs Mayfield?
Yeah.
Mayfeld?
That'd be pretty cool.
They'll hire him
Bosk,
back. Throw him
Zuckus,
some money.
Forlom.
I really hope we see the other bounty hunters, like Boba gives out a favor, ask for a favor, and we start seeing some of the other bounty hunters. Like, that would actually blow my mind. But
I think so. They've done Trandoshan so well. Because, Mando's not enough. I mean, he's great muscle, but he's just one person. If there's 700 pikes and there's 6 of them, that's not a fair fight. Like, and I hope we don't get some like Lord of the Rings style look to the left on the 5th day and there's, Tusken Bay and a jillion sand people just flying down the mountain on the Banthas.
On the Banthas, that'll be slow.
Oh, I would, but
what if a great dragon?
Oh God! What about Timothy Oliphant, as in the Marshal?
The Marshal.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Bob Vanth.
Yeah, he'll be back in season 3 probably.
I think he might. He's in Mos Pelgo, so he's on Tatooine. If there's going to be a war. I just hope it's not like the Battle of Winterfell. It was just too dark to see anything.
I just think there's only 2 chapters left. I don't think there's going to be... I think we might be over-exaggerating a bit. I think it's just going to... We're going to temper our expectations for these last 2 chapters, really.
It's going to be amazing. And Kira and Han Solo and Chewbacca are coming.
That amount of stuff into 2 chapters.
Ask JJ Abrams
If you've watched any anime, you can know in 20 minutes they can fit a fucking lot in. I'll tell you that. So
this is not anime.
What if
put it away?
What if they have? What if the Jawas? What if the Jawas come with like 4 sand crawlers and they open up the bay doors like the droid army and a million Tuskens start running out?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
This is getting a bit ridiculous, but sure, why not?
The expectations
Sure.
they're very level-headed. I think we're on the right page. But
Just enjoy.
look, I think so much can happen. I'm so pumped for it. I think I think it's gonna ramp up a notch though. Like, we're done with the black flashbacks. We're done with sort of landscaping. It's now, I mean, it's the thing. People are frustrated by this show. I mean, they love the Mando thing, but I mean, the end of end of episode 3, it was like they're getting ready for war, and Boba's like, "We will be ready." Episode 4 finished. There was all flashbacks, and Fennec's like, "They're going to war." It's like, "Then we'll be ready for war." And then episode 5, he's not even in it. It's like, what the fuck is going on with this war? Like, get on with it. And war will ensue.
I kind of look. People say it's slow, but I kind of like it. It's just a tease. It's all a tease, and it'll all pay off in the last 2, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Temper your expectations, man.
Temper your expectations.
It might not. It might not. You know, we might just have to wait for season 2. It might be a cliffhanger.
That would be fucking
I
annoying.
don't think we're getting a season 2.
I think there might be.
I'll be annoyed. I'll be annoyed if there's not.
Well, what happens if there is a season 2 because there's no Rangers of the New Republic? So they've got studio time. They've got episodes schedule. They have more. You know, there's one show
just a
that's
logo
not
announcement. They just announce logos. It's easy to announce a logo. I'm sure there was hardly anything.
No, the Lando show is definitely happening too. When? Not sure when.
I don't know. I just like to treat everything as just not happening until I see a teaser trailer or a poster or artwork.
Well, then Kenobi's not happening. I haven't seen. So what about Kenobi? Is that real? Doesn't exist?
Oh, look, no, it exists because it was a making of kind of, you know, behind the scenes kind of thing. That's fine.
And that was just artwork.
I only saw that for the first time. I only saw that for the first time 3 days ago.
Oh, yeah. Cal's like, "Hey, Matt, did you know that there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi?"
No, fuck it. I said, "Hey, how long has this been out for?" And I didn't know. And he goes, "It was out 4 months ago or something." I was like, "Oh."
It was also discussed on the podcast that you co-hosted.
I wasn't on that one. I don't think I was on that one.
No, you were there. You were there. Stop pretending. Anyway, I think we have put a lot of shit on the wall, and probably none of it will stick. But if it does, I can't wait to say I told you so.
Has it hit the fan?
I think
has it hit the fan?
It will. It's hit the fan. It's hit the script. Okay, something's happening. There's going to be something huge in the final episode. They will have something enormous. I guarantee.
Your expectations.
No, it's going to be huge. It's going to be so. I'm not going to buy into this whole Mary Jane expect disappointment and you'll never be disappointed thing. It's going to be massive.
We should watch The Last Step together. We should do that.
Well,
I've already had COVID, so it doesn't
last
matter.
episode. Yeah, your antibodies are enormous.
Yeah.
All right, last episode, February 9. Let's do it.
Let's try to lock it in.
I might be away for work, but I'll let you know.
I'll temper my expectations and pretend you're coming.
I'll pretend you're not coming until you're there. Okay.
Exactly. Turbo's coming unless he tells me he's not, which he just did. But no, it's been fun. I'm so pumped. I'm probably had way too much Red Bull sugars. I put a lot on the table and I'm exposed, but I'm okay with it. I'm so pumped. We're 3 days away, or 53 hours from the next episode. It's 52 hours and 50 minutes if you're really quick. Turbo, been great to have you as always. Fact checker wasn't much needed tonight. I kept it under wraps, I think. So we love having you on. Callan, pumped for you to put things up on the YouTube, and loving the new Podbean. And Dill, mate, love that we're on the same page as always. And not much left to say other than may the force be with you.
May the force be with all of us.
Wizard.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate you listening. If you have any questions or comments or feedback, please send an email to tmabypodcast@gmail.com. We will be back next week with episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett, and we are looking forward to reviewing that and having more guests on as the weeks progress. We'll catch you all next time.